Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Essential Boards for Every Business webinar. My name is Brian Servino, and I'm the Community Manager over here at Trello. And the goal of this webinar is to introduce 6 high-level Trello boards that every company can utilize to keep their entire team on the same page and create a higher level of transparency within your organization. So during this webinar, I'll be going over the setup and workflows of the following boards. Company Overview Board, the Employee Manual Board, the New Employee Onboarding Board, Town Hall Meetings Board, an IT slash kind of admin support board, and a company slash product roadmap board, really focusing on how you might want to create a public roadmap for your user base. And after the presentation, I'll be glad to answer any questions about these boards and how you can customize them to your team's unique needs. If you have any questions, please type them into the GoToWebinar question box, and I'll be addressing as many as possible during the time allotted with help from our support superstar, Michelle Earhart. And you can also email any questions to support@trello.com, and our support team will be glad to answer any of those questions that you have. Two other things I want to let you know. I'll be recording today's webinar, and I'll email a copy of the recording to all attendees. It'll probably arrive tomorrow in your email. And also, there should be a handout that you can access that covers a breakdown, a bullet point summary of kind of these boards and their workflows, and also a link to any relevant boards that we have in our inspirational boards page that you can copy. And if there's any blog posts we've already written about these boards, that might provide some more in-depth information. So anyway, let's get started. So the first board I want to demo is the company overview board. And so one of the biggest growing pains for any rapidly growing company or any company that is already expanding beyond the point of really being able to place every face with a name is the disconnect that between what different departments' current projects are, as well as how they fit into overall company priorities. And so a company overview board creates a new level of transparency for different teams to see at a glance what each department is working on and how they fit into greater company goals. So different departments can easily communicate and share their work with the entire company, and all departments are in a better position to be able to see, where they may be able to provide assistance or feedback. And so this board starts with a list for every department. However, the first card on the list is the how to use this board card. So the very first card gives a quick overview and summary about the board. We find this a really helpful addition to almost any Trello board because a first-time viewer of the board can get an idea about what the goals of the board are, the general workflow, and the expectations of the board. So then, as mentioned, we have a card for each department. And so each member of that department is on their department's card so that everyone in the company knows who they can reach out to with, for example, a marketing or sales question. And every department has a lead, usually the manager of the department, who's in charge of providing team updates each week on that card. And then the list that follows are for company priorities, current projects, completed projects. And so company priorities are kind of more higher level, more long-term goals for the company. And each one of these has a card. And often there will be multiple projects that are related to these priorities. And most, if not all, the projects on the board will reflect one or another of the company's current priorities. And so every priority has an assigned project owner who is added to the card, as well as any related Trello boards and Slack channels, so that anyone in the company can access these key components of collaboration and communication to keep up with what's going on. And so each project that is being worked on is set up in a similar fashion, where anyone working on the project is added to the card. However, if there are multiple people working on the project, there is one dedicated team lead. It's this person's responsibility to provide weekly updates on the card about what has been accomplished or any roadblocks. And so as priorities are met or projects are completed, they are moved over to the done list or the completed project list. We use Slack's Trello integration to send all comments on cards directly to a company overview channel in Slack. So basically every week, since we use Slack as a chat tool to communicate internally, this allows everyone to easily stay in the loop on any project status updates. And we encourage anyone working on a project to update these cards weekly. So, for instance, I can add a comment here. just shipped the new brand guidelines. Save that comment. And I can go to, as you can see in our company overview Slack channel, this update is automatically brought in. And anyone that's at the company now will get a notification, or we'll see in Slack that there's been an update to one of the projects. And if they want to keep up with what's going on, it's really easy for them. So we also use the card aging power up, which fades out cards that haven't been updated in a while to keep track of projects that may have. This is a good way to kind of keep track of projects that may have fallen by the wayside, or maybe need some reevaluation as to whether or not they should be continued. Luckily on this board, it seems like everyone's on top of their tasks, so we have no faded out cards here. But as you can see from this screenshot, if you have the card aging power up, you can kind of get an idea of maybe what someone might not have time for, or they might just have too much in their workload. So that is the company overview board. Also noted, you can, if you have due dates assigned to these cards, let me just mention real quick, you can enable the calendar power up. And now quickly see in a calendar view when upcoming projects are set to be due and deadlines, etc. Which is also another really helpful way to stay on top of what's being worked on and the timeline for those. We also have one last thing is we have labels for each department. So at a glance, you can see what each department is working on. And I can filter just to see what the marketing team is working on, or to see what the product team is working on, etc. So really easily I can narrow down the cards that are most relevant to me. So the next board I want to share is what we call the onboarding board. And this is a great way to kind of make the first day for any new hire as smooth as possible. And by creating a copyable template board that can be personalized for each new hire, you can provide a way to keep track of any first day or first week formalities, share any forms or documentation such as tax forms, and give new hires a quick and handy company reference manual. And so what we do is we break down the onboarding process into all the individual steps, and we create a card for each step. We add any relevant team members to any cards where they're supposed to help to make sure that that task is completed. For instance, I can add someone from our HR team onto a card for forms to be signed. And this way they can reach out and just, make sure that all the boxes here are being checked and that all the forms have been signed and submitted. So some tasks can be accomplished even before your new hire starts. And you can create lists to break up these tasks accordingly. In our case, we have a list for before someone starts, and then a list for the first day, first week tasks. And this way, the new hire can see what's anyone actually in any management and the new hire can all see, what still needs to get done, and make sure nothing important falls through the cracks, like setting up health insurance. So we have other lists on the board. So once employees finish these tasks, they can just move it to the done list. And also, this is a great way to kind of familiarize new employees with the Trello workflow. So other lists on the board kind of help to answer some common questions that a new hire might have, such as what kind of equipment they can request, anything to help you get your work done, any additional awesome little perks that might make your day-to-day better. Another list is who to contact, answer common questions that a new hire might have, such as what kind of equipment you can request to help you, information about company culture, and etc. So we have an email address or an extension of who you can reach out to. And of course, you can always reach out to someone on Slack or in Trello. So these are like any common questions that one might have, just to make everything easier. We also have a list for company culture, just to kind of acclimate someone to, what's going on. So we share a little bit our office, our history, our town hall meetings, maybe weekly events that we have. And probably, I think one of the most important lists is the who's who list of fellow employees. And so this includes a little blurb from each person, as well as their name and picture. And I'm sure we've all been led through an office, on our first day and been introduced to like 50 new faces all at once. So now any new hire can discreetly go back and put Becky or Bradley's name to their face. which makes everything a lot easier for everybody. And so as I mentioned earlier, once you have a template board set up, such as this one, um, it's easy to copy the board for a new hire, basically by going to More in the board side menu, selecting Copy Board, and then you could just name it Timothy, name it for the new hire, keep the cards. You can change it to this either be private for the person or team visible, depending. Just hit create. Now, as you can see, I have a copied board. Of course, ideally in my template, I would have that card over here to start. But now you can add your new hire to the board and add any relevant managers and assign tasks accordingly. And we also make sure to collect feedback from new hires about this onboarding process and how the board has helped them or could be improved. And what's really great is that we can use this information to reprioritize cards or make changes that will improve the onboarding process for future hires. So we can easily just drag cards around and just prioritize what we want to make sure that they see first. So the employee manual board, creating an employee manual on a Trello board is a simple, visual, kind of easy to update, easy to search, and accessible from anywhere resource. And so really this is nothing that's just valuable for new hires, but for anyone that works at your company, because it's a repository of all important company policies, forms, and documents. And lists can be broken down really into whatever makes sense for your company, such as benefits, policies, perks, and cards can easily be arranged to draw attention to more important topics. So I'm going to go over a little bit how we have our employee manual set up. So we have actually a list with a single card on it for every employee's first day. And this card links to all the most important cards on the board so that they're not missed, as well as any other important information that we want to reinforce on day one that may have already been covered on the onboarding board, but we really want to make sure it gets covered. A quick note is that you can actually, as you can see, we link directly to other Trello cards on here. And so it's easy to link to another Trello card by simply copying and pasting the link to that card into a card's description. So if I go to edit the description, as you can see, you can either use it like a hyperlink, or you can just simply paste the link, save it, and you have it right there. Just makes it easier to then go and, oops, that must be a private card. I guess, oh, I'm linking to a different cards on a different board. Never mind me. Anyway, I need to update my links on this board, but these will link to other cards on the board. So anyway, our employee manual has a list for all of the company's benefits, and each topic has its own card. For instance, like health insurance, nice detailed list. Any health insurance benefits documentation, any related websites are all linked to on this card. So any employee can access anywhere, even from their mobile devices. So the next list, covers everything that one might have to ask about vacation policy, sick leave, etc. And this actually really came in handy for me one day. I was on jury duty and had to fill out some forms. And one of the questions was about getting paid by your company during jury duty. And so I was able to just access this board from my iPhone and quickly get the necessary information and fill out the forms. So it works much better than having some printed out file, filed away in the depths of my filing cabinet in my office that I'm never going to remember and I won't be able to just access anywhere. So the next list covers items like conference budgets, travel guidelines, since everyone at Trello is allowed to attend relevant conferences. And there's often a need to travel for work and related matters. And since our company is half located in our New York headquarters and half remote, we have separate lists explaining the various perks that both headquarters and remote employees can enjoy and kind of answer common questions about either. And finally, this is just a catch-all list. This is like, want to make sure you don't miss these things. This list, highlights a lot of the stuff that's linked to from the very first card on the board that are pretty crucial things to cover. So that's kind of our employee manual board. Like I said, easily updatable, accessible from anywhere, get access to documents from anywhere, and just really stay in the loop about any company policies. So next up is our IT admin support board. And so really, like, whether it's a new hire that needs their email, Trello, and various other accounts set up, if it's technical computer issues or requests for equipment, the IT support board is kind of your one-stop shop for keeping track of team requests and providing a visual pipeline for employees to see the status of their requests. So this board also serves as a repository of self-help documentation for frequently asked questions, such as maybe how to access Google Apps or how to access the VPN. So we just find that having this self-service cards here of facts kind of cuts down on a lot of requests to our IT team. So the how to use this board card kind of shares, how to create a ticket request on the board, as well as who to contact in case, from IT in case there's an emergency. And so to create a new ticket, all someone has to do is add a new card to the incoming list with the request as the title of the card. Then perhaps a brief description of the request. Whoever's making the request can add themselves to the card. And this way they'll be notified as the ticket moves across from doing to shipping to done. And also, if there's a hard due date for a request, you can add that on there. If I definitely need this laptop by January 29th, I want to let someone on my team know that it's really important. And members can add themselves to cards by either clicking the member add button or just by dragging themselves an avatar to the list. So members of the IT team that are responsible for handling tickets can subscribe to the incoming list. And so this way they get notified every time a new card is added to that list. And then if someone, whoever on the IT team picks up the ticket, they can add themselves to that ticket just to notify that the person that they've picked up the ticket and drag it to the doing list. Now this way everyone knows that I'm assigned to handling the purchase of the laptop, and Chris will get an update that I'm doing it and I'm currently working on it. So if your team has business class, you can actually use the package tracking power-up to view at a glance the status of any orders by simply entering the tracking number of a package into the card. And you can enter that right into the card in the power-up. And this can basically be really useful when shipping that expensive MacBook Pro to a remote employee and kind of want to make sure that it got delivered all right. Another cool thing about this board is if your team has repeatable tasks, it's not a bad idea to create a template card that can be copied not only to save time, but also to make sure that no important steps are overlooked. So for instance, we have an IT onboarding process for every new hire, and members of the IT team can copy the new hire card for each new hire and make sure that no step in the onboarding process is missed. And this card can also be customized for each new hire depending on their needs. So what I can do here is if I wanted to, if we have a new hire, I could copy this and I could title after the new hire. And I want to keep this checklist just because, it's important that I don't miss any steps. And I can move this actually, select the list right on the incoming, create the card. And so now for this new hire, I can fill out what title they're our team, who they report to, on all this information. Make sure I get all the accounts that they need created, and add any hardware requests that they might have. Now, as I go along, I can just check off everything as I do it, and make sure that the person, when Jane starts on day one, that they're ready to just jump right in. Everything they need is there. All their accounts are set up, and it just makes everything easier for everybody. So that goes over our IT kind of support board. As I said, when things are, you can move cards to done, and the IT person can take themselves off this card if they want. So the next board I want to talk about is town hall meetings. which we actually had one of these this morning. So one of the most important aspects of kind of creating a transparent company culture is by holding regular company-wide meetings that are an open forum for anyone to ask questions or discuss what's on their mind. And so we call these town hall meetings, and everyone is expected to participate. So we facilitate the transparency of these meetings with a Trello board. And so the first list on the board covers general town hall operations and information. So when we were a small company with the entire team working in our headquarters, we could all cram into a conference room for our town halls. But now that we've grown and half our team is remote, we've taken a remote first policy at Trello, not only for town halls, but for all aspects of the company. And so for town halls, we now access the meetings with a Zoom video chat. And it's been a powerful way of making sure that we're all on a level playing field and adds more cohesiveness by creating a shared team experience. So this first card would provide information as to how anyone from the team, whether they're in the headquarters or remote, would be able to access our town hall meetings. I've obviously removed our sensitive data from this card. So next up, we have the schedule for upcoming town halls. And so any team member can subscribe to this card if they'd like to receive notifications for town halls, via the due date feature. So if you click subscribe, your avatar doesn't appear on the card, but you will get notifications for updates. So if, say, we had a town hall today on January 21st, but our next one is going to be February 18th, I can save that. And now update the card. And anyone that's subscribed to this card will get a notification in Trello that the next meeting will be on February 18th. So we also, team members are really encouraged to give demos and present what they're working on. So we have instructions for giving demos in case anyone would like to present, updates to what they're working on or data from their department. And we love hearing about and seeing all the great stuff that our colleagues are working on. So we encourage anyone to demo anything they're working on for any town hall. And finally, on the last card is for town hall announcements. And so this is very much a part of our company culture, but you can almost consider these 10 items in this checklist akin to the 10 commandments for our company. They kind of state the core philosophies of our company and our company culture. And so at the beginning of every town hall, someone from the team reads out this checklist to the company as a reminder for all of us. And the best thing is that we always have a new hire read the list so that they learn these core philosophies. So it's really kind of an important part of the onboarding process. And for each town hall, we copy this card and we move it to the announcements questions list for that team meeting. So as you can see, it's copied here, and our new hire, Andre, will be reading these minutes. So the checklist, the announcements. So as I mentioned earlier, the goal of a town hall is to have a transparent company-wide meeting with an open forum for any employee to be able to ask questions, voice concerns, celebrate great work, or update the company on what they're currently working on with their team. And so really anyone can add a card to the announcements questions list, and we'll make sure to cover every single card on the list during the town hall. And so if you add a card to the list, you should also then add yourself to the card so that the meeting moderator can call on you when your card comes up. And anyone that has any questions about any card that has been added to the list can leave a comment on the card so it'll get addressed during the meeting. So for instance, what is support? Maybe I would like to know, how can I help out more? Just so we know that during this meeting, I do want to ask about, how I can help out the support team more, maybe since I'm the social media coordinator. So anyway, we like to kind of start our meetings with a few traditions. First, all new employees introduce themselves to the rest of the company and share a little bit about themselves. Then the new hires read the town hall announcements, as I mentioned. So up next, we have a little Trello tradition where we celebrate everyone's Trelloversary with tacos. If you didn't know, this cartoon husky that you see makes his appearance every now and then is named Taco, and he's our mascot. And so it's like an anniversary of someone's hire date. We award them with a taco statue. And every year you get another, and as you can imagine, some team members have quite a few now. So we also then go through any of the cards that have been added by any fellow employees. And as mentioned earlier, these can be questions, concerns, or updates. We create a new list on the board with the town hall date and move these cards to this list as they get completed to keep a visual log of every meeting. And one thing that's pretty cool is you can easily add a new list to anyone on your board just by double clicking. I'm going to call this town hall 1/21. And as you see, a new list right there. And as we go through anything, we can move here, move these lists over here. And it's just a really nice, easy way to create a visual log of each meeting. So we end our meetings with what we call bravos. And these are acknowledgments from one colleague to another about exceptional work that they've done, or ways that someone has gone above and beyond at the company. And kind of ending on this high note gives us a moment to collectively celebrate the great work that people here do. Finally, or not finally, but we have a meetings list, a minutes list for each meeting. So basically, we have a more detailed meeting recap in the card description on each card. And as I mentioned earlier, there are lists for each meeting that has cards, topics that were discussed during the meeting. And this is really helpful, in case you want to go back and reference any links, any demos, or data from that presentation. So you can just go back in time and see any of the past town halls. So this really helps facilitate for us a transparent meeting. Everyone knows what the meeting is going to involve, and everyone can ask questions and prepare in advance for it. The sixth board I want to talk about is the product roadmap board. And so this is kind of a new, really exciting use of Trello is the product roadmap, and especially the public product roadmap. And so a product roadmap is a great way to keep not only your team, but also your users up to date with what is being worked on, kind of what's up next, and what is shipped in one easily updatable visual location. And so these can be internal only, but more and more companies are creating public roadmaps as a way to bring their user base into the development process and to solicit feedback and ideas from your passionate community of users that are using your product on a regular basis. And if you decide to ever make a public roadmap, you can either copy the board and then make it public, or you can simply just click here and you can turn this into a public board. Since we already have a public version of this, I'm just going to make this team again. So our public product roadmap board starts with an info list that shares kind of what can be expected from the board, as well as what's coming up, feature suggestions. Next up, we have a list for kind of what is currently being worked on, what's in progress. And then every time something ships, we create a new list and add that card to it. So for instance, I can make a new list here, January 2016. I don't know if you just heard, but we just released our additional business class power-ups in the power-ups platform, so I can move that to live now in 2016. And we've also created a few custom stickers to add to shipped cards to kind of add a bit of fun. So really anyone with a Trello Gold or Business Class account can create custom stickers and upload them to your board. So from right here, you can just click and add a sticker and then just add a file, any file you want, and it could be a PNG, a JPEG, or even an animated GIF. So another great little feature that you can use on public boards is to get feedback from your community, is to enable the voting power-up. And so by enabling the voting power-up, now if you have something you're going to work on, if you're making planning out, your roadmap, if anyone that's a Trello user can access this public board, and there'll be a little badge here where they could vote on the features that they're most interested in. So it's a really great way just, for your product team to kind of get a better idea about what your community is looking for. And actually, I'm going to show you, let me show you a really good board that demonstrates this. So this is from Front. It's an app and their product roadmap. And so as you see, what they encourage here people to do is send your feature ideas to team@frontapp.com. And so Then they add those feature ideas to this list, and people can vote on them, add their vote to a card, and this way their product team kind of gets an idea of what to work on and maybe prioritize. And then they have what's going to be up and what's currently working on, and then they also have lists for when things ship. So two other cool features. One way, if you want to maybe automate the process of having your feature ideas automatically added to a board, what you could do is every board has its unique email address. And if say you had like a email address feature requests at Trello.com or at yourcompany.com, you could have that forward to this address, and it will automatically generate a new card for each email sent. So you could automate the process of having feature requests added to this board to be added to by setting up an email address that forwards to this email address or goes directly to this email address even. And then every time someone sends in a feature request, it'll be added to whatever list you assign, and then your community can vote on it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, let me just open this board real fast. So excuse me one moment, just trying to get the right board. We recently added the SurveyMonkey power-up. I just need to, so what this allows you to do, here we go. So with the SurveyMonkey power-up, you can actually add polls to your public boards, which is really cool. So basically, I can attach, clicked it 3 times, my bad. So I can attach a survey to a card, and what I can do is I can put this on my public board. Now, since I'm the one that's authorized the SurveyMonkey power-up, I can also see how many responses there are, questions when it's created, and quickly get to results. But for a general public user, let's see, actually, what I can do is you can ask users to just take a survey right from the back of a Trello card and collect feedback, on maybe product launches or what you're working on, maybe what you're planning out and everything. So that comes with the SurveyMonkey power-up comes with our business class offering, as well as a whole slew of other power-ups and ways to enhance your Trello workflow. So that's pretty neat. And you can actually learn more about business class, which I'll actually show you later, but right. So you can just trello.com/business-class. And while I have your attention, I just want to show you a couple more quick resources that you might like. We have a page dedicated, if you're looking to kind of see different workflows, you can go to trello.com/inspiration, where we curate different boards from the Trello community, and even our boards. So a lot of these boards that you've seen today are actually available on trello.com/inspiration. And you can, view these boards, copy the boards, customize them for your workflow. And also a lot of them even have associated blog posts with more in-depth information. We also like to write about a lot of these boards on our blog at blog.trello.com, and we also have general articles on productivity, remote culture, remote working, tech, and product updates on our blog. And you can also add third-party integrations to your boards. So if you go to trello.com/integrations, there's a lot of different add-ons or browser extensions that you can use to customize your workflow and add extra features. And as I mentioned, Trello.com business class, to learn more about any business class questions. Also, we're on social. If you ever want to reach out, connect with us on there. Glad to answer any questions you have. Glad to hear about what kind of Trello boards you're making or anything. Definitely find us on social. And so that kind of wraps up this webinar. One thing I should also mention actually is if you go to trello.com/webinars, if you're curious about any of the new business class power-ups that came out this past week and want to see some demos, I'm going to be doing some webinars over the next couple of weeks where I'll be demoing all the new business class power-ups. So you can just go to trello.com/webinars to sign up for those. And so that wraps up my presentation of kind of our big six high-level Trello boards that we really count on for providing transparency within our team. And I'm going to get the Q&A session going right now in just a moment, focusing on questions about these boards first. So if you have any questions, please enter them to the GoToWebinar box. And like I said, I'll make sure to address as many as possible in the time remaining. And if you leave the webinar now and have any questions, or if you'd rather ask your questions in private, feel free to email us at support@trello.com, and we'll be glad to answer them for you. Also, this year we're going to be really expanding our webinar lineup. And if there's any webinars that you'd really like to learn about, maybe project management workflows or any content, email our support team, support@trello.com, and we'd love to hear feedback, kind of what you'd like to see. So thanks a lot, and I'm going to work with Michelle here to answer any of your questions that you have. All right. Let's see. The first question is, I found a company overview template online. Do you have templates, examples, and boards for the others as well? Oh, yep. As I mentioned a second ago, let me actually go to the page. If you're looking for more kind of templates, trello.com/inspiration. And so we have a whole bunch of boards. You could click this business tab. These are all various business boards. There's also tags for certain topics. So if you're looking for, general management, here's the company overview board I was talking about earlier. And so really what you could do is you could just open the board, and you can easily just kind of copy these boards and modify them to your own team's needs. These are also totally searchable. Let's see. Someone asked, "Can we receive this video?" Yep. I've been recording the webinar, and you'll be getting an email. You'll be getting an email probably tomorrow. The recording of the webinar, and any previously recorded webinars are available on demand at Trello.com/webinars. So you can. We have a few right now, and we'll be adding a lot more content. Let's see. Question: is there any trial period for these power-ups if you'd like to see them? Oh, for business class. So regarding the business class, we do not currently offer a free trial period. However, we do have a full 90-day money back guarantee. So if you sign up for business class and you want to try out the power ups and determine if it's right for your team, you can totally just sign up. And if you find that it doesn't work for you, you could just cancel. If you'd like a refund, we have a no questions asked, full refund for 90 days. So let's see. Oh, good question about the onboarding board. How do you manage the access to the boards like the onboarding one? Do you take people on and off? So what we do is, let me go back. So this would be, let's say this was my template board. What I'd do is I would copy the board, name it after my new hire, and I'd probably make it private, just because not everyone here at Trello needs to see Jane's onboarding board. I want to make sure I keep all the cards. So I create this board, and since a lot of cards, it takes a moment to copy. Maybe my internet's being a little crazy right now. But anyway. Are you copying or what? There we go. Okay. So what I can do then is, what I would do is, since say I'm maybe hypothetically, HR, so I would, put myself on this card. I might I'll add Jane's manager to the board, add him the card, and then what I'd want to do is just kind of invite Jane to the board. And so now Jane can sign up for Trello, before starting. We'll have access to this board, and if we've maybe created a Trello account for her, we might just like say, here's your Trello username and log in, in an onboarding email. And now Jane has access to this board before first day. But since this is a private board, only myself, Jane's manager, and Jane will have access to this board. So that's how we would set it up here. Hope that answers your question. Let's see. I just signed up to use Trello. Are there any videos to teach me how to get started? Yes, actually. Great question. If you go to trello.com/guide, we have a pretty extensive getting started guide that covers a lot of topics: organizing board basics, how to customize your Trello board, collaborating, going deep mobile. So you can go in. We have videos, demos, samples, a lot of information here, but not too much to overwhelm you. Just enough to help get you started in Trello. And I also do a getting started webinar every few weeks or monthly. So if you go to trello.com/webinars, which I can show you, we have one coming up. Getting started with Trello is February 16th. And what I really do is go through the basics of just kind of how to set up that Trello board. It's a really fundamentals kind of webinar with not, just a very basic, shows you all the features on how to onboard, set up your board, and begin collaborating on a project with someone. Let's see. Someone asked, let's see, good question. How do you know when to put info into Trello versus Fogbugs, Google Drive, etc.? Well, I mean, that kind of really depends on your workflow. A lot of times we'll use both. Let me see if I can pull up. Hang on one second. Let me pull up a good board. So let's say on this this dev board, for instance, this is a demo of a dev board, and maybe this is showing something, a development of a app or a product. So we'll have like the higher level tasks and create a workflow for these tasks. But often, there might be a Fogbugs cases associated with those tasks, which this account, unfortunately, that I'm on right now is not. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like a little better. The account I'm on right now is not authorized to view. It's not authorized for the power up, but here we go. Okay. So as you can see, I have Fogbug cases here. They might want to, reference regarding some bug reports, etc. We have a GitHub power up, so you can access all your GitHub commits and cases. This actually is not pulling in all the right data right now, just because I'm not set up in the environment to fully demo these power ups. But if you come to we're introducing the Power Ups platform webinar or business class 101 webinars, I go in depth on all these power ups in a better environment to demo them. But basically, to answer your question, it's really about your workflow, what works best for you. Obviously some things in GitHub or Fogbugs, there's gonna be information, code in there that maybe you're not gonna, it wouldn't make sense to put in a card description in Trello. So you can link to these things. Same with Google Drive. We use the Google Drive on our marketing team a lot to manage assets for campaigns. So we'll attach a folder from Google Drive onto a Trello card. This way, it's like easily accessible from anyone. We can, maybe our PR company needs access to the Google Drive file, but we don't want to give them access to our marketing board. We might use the Google Drive folder then. Let's see. Someone asked, can we synchronize a Trello calendar with an Outlook calendar? Yep. Let's see. I enabled the calendar on here. So when you enable a calendar on your board, you have every board you'll have a unique iCal feed for it that is unique to the board and your account. So you can enable that, and this is your personal iCalendar feed. And so you can take this link and really import that into any third-party calendar, such as Apple's calendar, Google, Outlook, where the option is to import any iCal or third-party calendars. And Sunrise is another great example. And it's also a great way if you want to view, say, all the cards from all your boards in one location. You could, every board that you have with a calendar power-up enabled, you could import that iCal feed to that calendar, and in one place in your Outlook calendar, let's say, see all the due dates for across all your different boards. Let's see. Question about the best practices for team brainstorming. So we kind of have a multi-step process for that here. I mean, I could talk a little bit about. That's a good question. Let me see. Here's maybe like a demo marketing team board. So like I said, I'm not set up to display everything currently with the permissions, but this would be our folder, and we have attachments. So a lot of times we would start by commenting on cards, but oftentimes we take a lot of brainstorming to Slack and maybe join me, or we use Appear In. So we have if you have business class, there's an Appear In power up. And now anyone on the team can quickly jump into an Appear In, and hey everybody, nice to see you. And now I can invite the team to say, hey, let's hop in an Appear In and start brainstorming, and talk a bit about an upcoming maybe our education page, landing page. Let's talk about it. So we can have like a face-to-face conversation. The other thing too is if maybe your team uses Slack, maybe we're talking about something, and my colleague says, oh, there's this new feature, like, have you checked it out? Maybe we're brainstorming or something, and someone says something really good. I can actually click the date, the timestamp, and I could drag that over to my Trello board, and I could either drag it right and drop it right into a card. I've probably done this before. No, I'd need to enable the Slack power up. Okay. And as you see, that Slack conversation is now added to right out of this card. So if we're brainstorming in Slack and I want to capture something and remember it, I can just drag a timestamp message right to a card about that subject. Or let's say I just want to create a whole new task. I can just go drop it right over this add a card section. And there we go. Like now I can just now I can remember that, and I can make sure that I create this new animated GIF for the new drag and drop feature that we were talking about. So that's with the Slack power up, makes that really easy to bring in those conversations. So those are kind of some ways that we like to brainstorm, using some external tools and then bringing it back into Trello. So let's see. Someone asked, since we have just started 2016, what suggestions would you have to keep store all of my 2015 boards? If you're not using those boards anymore, probably the best thing, I mean, it depends, I guess, if you reference them a lot or not. If you're really not using those boards anymore, you can just close a board by going into the board menu and just clicking close. And then you can always reopen it later. You can also access any of your closed boards, see all of them from here in the sidebar. So see closed boards. If I want to reopen it, I can just reopen it. that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is, let's see. This is a business class feature, but in the new business class, you can actually we can create collections. So you could create a collection, say 2015, and so this would be for a team, 2015 boards, and then maybe 2016 boards. And then what I could do is actually I could um, just apply this 2015 board, 2016 board, and I could filter by these collections. So if I want to see my 2015 boards, or if I just want to see 2016 boards and I don't want to view any 20, if I just want to see 2016 boards and no 2015 boards, I could just keep this in filter mode and then, you know, just only view those boards when I want to easily pull them up. So that's kind of one way. I don't know if Michelle, if you're, I'm gonna bring Michelle. Michelle, you should be able to talk if you want, but unmute yourself. But anyway, if you have any input, I'd love to hear it. But that's kind of maybe the best way I can think of right now.
Hi, I like that.
Oh, hey, Michelle.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, welcome.
Hello? Awesome, cool. Yeah, I like that. It just because it keeps everything within your same team. Like I know some people like to create a different team or that kind of to separate those boards, but yeah, that way it's like all there still, and you don't have to like have another. I don't know. It's all accessible, which
Yeah,
I think
right.
is really key.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Next question. How are we doing with questions? We got about like 5 more minutes, so if anyone has any last minute questions, feel free to ask. This talk seems to be geared towards bigger businesses, though a lot can be applied to businesses of all sizes. Awesome. Do you have any small business specific advice for working with Trello? I mean, I like to think that Trello is pretty scalable between small businesses and large businesses. Um, I don't know. Kind of like to dig into that some more. I don't know, Michelle, do you have any advice?
I think a lot of it is a lot of yeah, I guess a lot of the difference between like a small business and a big business is just that a lot of your team is doing more things. So you might
Right.
have instead of having an entire like development team, maybe your development team is also jumping into support. They're also helping out with marketing. And so I think maybe with a small business is even more important to make sure like if you don't have like a set project manager, who's who's the person who's staying on top of your board, like making sure you know who's responsible for making sure things don't fall between the cracks on a specific board.
That's a great idea. And actually, I wanted to make sure Michelle answer here because she wrote a great blog post that I want to share. I'm going to share
Very
this in
good.
the chat. Ah, where is it? Board best practices. Here we go. I think has some great advice, especially for smaller teams. I'm going to put this in the chat. This link to this blog post that covers a lot of stuff about setting up Trello boards, making sure everyone stays on top of things. Because yeah, that's a good point. With a small team, more people might be wearing more hats, and so you always run that risk of things falling through the cracks. We'd like if you ever want to follow up with us on that, small business specific advice working with Trello. Love to like think that out some more, and that'd be great. We'd love to continue that discussion. You can email us support@trello.com or even email me social@trello.com. Let's see, Michelle, do we have any more questions?
Oh, there's a couple I'm still getting to. Maybe highlight the integrations page for a sec.
Oh yeah. All right, I'm just gonna look it up. Do we have questions about integrations? So yeah, as I mentioned, the integrations page. You can search. Maybe you want time tracking. You can search for that. Any add-ons, browser extensions. There's a whole lot of third-party development going on, and we actually just released a new Power Ups platform yesterday where you can build, if you have business class, you can build your own third-party Power Ups. So you can build Power Ups for your team now. That's at developers.trello.com/powerups. So if you're a developer, maybe there's a certain Power Up that you would like to have with your business class account. We've opened up our platform for that, which is really cool. So you can request access to our Power Ups platform and start building your own team Power Ups. Let's see. Okay, so yep, looks like someone's looking for. Yep, we have some integrations Gantt. If you're interested, it looks like someone's looking for some Gantt stuff and time tracking. So both of those are on our integrations page. And also, we just launched with our new Power Ups platform yesterday, Harvest Power Up, and we have for time tracking an Elegant, which adds Gantt charts to your Trello boards. Whew. Yeah, I guess if about running out of time here. So if we haven't gotten any of your questions, definitely feel free to email us, support@trello.com, and we'll make sure we get all of these. Oh, yeah, we're hitting the 2 o'clock mark. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to wrap this up, I guess. But like I said, don't hesitate ever to reach out with any questions you have. We're always glad to answer them. If you have any follow-ups or anything, support@trello.com. And thanks so much for attending today. And like I said, been recording this webinar, and I'll be sending out a copy of it to everyone. And hope everyone has a great day, great rest of the week, great weekend, and take care. See you at a future webinar.